Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
Hey guys, ChrisFix here, and we're going for a drive.
ChrisFix's 1996 AM General Hummer.
Wagon.
Duramax swapped.
We got ChrisFix here. We're in New Jersey. We're driving his attainable dream car.
And this is the first review with 3 people. All right, military Jacob, floor it for me.
I assure you that this is not a self-driving vehicle. I am in the driver's seat. Okay, send. Oh, yeah!
This is way too much power for such a big vehicle.
No, this is just right. So let's get into it.
Horsepower and torque.
450 horsepower and 900 pound-feet of torque from a 6.6 liter Duramax swap.
So ChrisFix, what is a Duramax swap on a Hummer and why does it exist?
Because Hummers stock were really slow, they're really inefficient, and they just weren't good. So they swapped this in to really get you something nice and make it like a daily driver.
So Hummers were never meant to be road driven, ever.
They were only designed for the military. That was Arnold.
And they were Humvees, and then they were turned into Hummers.
Yes.
Because driving this one, it feels like a normal car, or as normal of a car as this can.
It pretty much does. That's probably the best way to describe driving this.
And that's exactly why I wanted this, because this is my daily driver. I don't want to work on cars all the time. I have plenty of projects. This is the one I don't touch and I just drive.
He's not joking. He literally picked us up in this and is taking us around town. We went to the Jersey Shore.
Yes, we did.
We went to the Olive Garden. Where else did we go?
We went to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, it was a great time.
So in case you don't know, which you should anyways, Chris fixes cars. His channel is called ChrisFix, and he fixes basically everything. But he hasn't needed to fix this yet. But he has a lot of plans for stuff, like what?
So the windows have chips in them because they're straight up and down. And I really, any little thing that's wrong, it bothers me. So I'm gonna replace that.
So that's a bullet hole, right?
A bullet hole, yeah. So, and there's little things here and there, which is good because I got it for a good price. But once I get it fixed, that's it. I'm done. Like, I'm not doing anything else. It's set up perfectly.
You didn't buy this to make a ton of videos on your channel. You just wanted this.
This is a car I've wanted since I was a little kid. Any off-road game, any car game that had this in there, I was with this car. I picked it.
Does this attainable dream car fall on the same level as Jacob's Raptor and my Prowler?
Yeah, it's something that you've always wanted since you were a little kid, and you went out and got it because you became successful.
And I just want to point out, Hummer, Prowler, and Raptor are all the sickest names for cars.
Winning combination.
Yes.
So quickly go over to ChrisFix's channel and hit subscribe. We're gonna try to get him to 6 million, guys. Let's all work together.
Okay, so let's talk about how this Hummer was established, everything kind of with the history, the fun stuff.
What year did it start, Chris?
1992.
And it went all the way until?
2006, and they didn't make one in 2005.
And is this the only real Hummer in your eyes? Because there is an H2 and an H3.
So I'm not gonna comment on real or not real, but this is the original. And this is the one that has the portal axles and has 16 inches of ground clearance and all that good stuff.
So let me explain that. So this is an AM General Hummer. This is not an H1. H1 started once GM got the rights to the Hummer brand. So then it was a Hummer H1.
But still made by AM General.
That's right. So they owned the licensing to the name, but AM General still built it, and then they actually contracted them for the H2, but then GM itself built the H3.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. And the best part is Arnold Schwarzenegger is pretty much almost single-handedly responsible for the civilian version of this. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is pretty much the best person you could have to advocate for this vehicle at the time. He was the guy.
Terminator 2 came out and I need a big truck for everything.
Pretty much.
That's the right accent, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Stop whining.
So now let's talk about driving this thing. It is honestly pretty damn fast for the size of this. Feels pretty good, and once that boost hits, here I'll send it once again. Boost, and we're gone. I love it.
It feels like a sports car.
It feels like a sports car in the same way that my Raptor kind of feels like a sports car, because it's kind of like over the top, but not quite over the top.
0 to 60 in 7 seconds.
That's really good.
8,000 pounds.
For the size of this.
The Prowler is still faster though, for the record.
It is for 0 to 60 apparently, yes, we did look up the stats.
So Chris, did you test drive any non-Duramax swapped Hummers to see if you wanted those?
I did. I never just test drive one and buy it. I always try to get a bunch of cars, and the difference is insane. This is so much quicker. It handles like a regular car, on the road, whereas the older ones, they definitely handle like a Hummer on the road.
And this actually handles quite well because it's so freaking wide that there's just so much stability. So it's actually really good to send into corners, which we're not going to fully do. But if you were to, it handles them just fine. And when you do send it, the steering is actually so light with the smallest steering wheel ever.
Yeah, it feels like you're controlling the biggest thing with maybe like a computer steering wheel for a video game.
Yeah, like almost like a children's like a little joystick type thing.
Except it's a Hummer.
Exactly. So overall, driving this, you do have to pay attention to how wide it is. It is only 0.5 inches wider than my Ford Raptor. However, it feels like it's 16 feet wider because I can't even, like, that's how wide this is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Can you hear him from all the way over there?
Yeah, I have to yell.
Oh, yeah? Oh, well, we brought something in case you don't need to, so.
Yeah, here. Now you can talk to Jacob from the back seat.
Raptor to Hummer, can you hear me back there?
I hear you loud and clear, Raptor.
Raptor to Prowler, how's the audio over there?
Loud and clear.
And the suspension overall is pretty stiff, but it's still really comfortable. We got really big tires. We got a lot of really crazy Hummer specific stuff. So let's get into it, but let's get Yuri into the driver's seat.
But first, visor test.
Oh yeah, I guess we should.
Okay, 3, 2. The visors do not move and they don't even have mirrors in them.
Is that a supercar pass?
Is this a supercar?
Super truck?
Yeah?
A super truck. That's going to be a new checklist we need to figure out.
Super truck checklist.
And how about a cup of Dunkin' Donuts, since we finally found some in America? It fits perfectly fine.
Does the military version have a cup holder?
I actually don't know. They might have grenade holders.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Yuri, let's get you in the driver's seat. Go for it. Once that boost hits.
And then how about the brakes?
Chris, explain the brakes.
Okay, so these brakes are inboard brakes. They're not under the wheels. They're connected to the frame right next to the differential. And that prevents them from getting hit by rocks. It allows you to run really big brakes and gives it tons of torque when you jam on the brakes, as you just saw.
And where the rotors would normally be, what is there? Portal axles?
Yeah, there's portal axles. So instead of the axle going straight into the hub, it goes up on top, and then the bottom part is where the central tire inflation system goes.
And what is that?
So that is allowing us to fill the car up with air or deflate it. So with a press of a button on the fly, you could inflate the tires or deflate them.
And where is that, Yuri?
Right to the bottom right of the steering wheel.
That's so cool.
But I hear a lot of people remove that because it breaks.
So it is very difficult to find leaks, and it is allowed to leak around 3% of your total tire pressure per day, which isn't a big deal because in the morning you just hit the button for a couple seconds and pump it up.
Would you ever consider having a Hummer without that system on it?
I think that's part of what makes a Hummer a Hummer.
Yeah,
Not
true,
many
yeah.
vehicles have that.
Yeah.
What does it sound like if I hit inflate?
You can hear the compressor turn on right away.
That's pretty cool.
So the next biggest cool Hummer thing is obviously the ground clearance. Tell us about that.
16 inches stock.
But
Completely stock.
But this is not stock.
No, this has a 2-inch body lift. So the cool thing is the engine, the transmission, all this right here in the middle is up. That's
So-
why we're so far away.
So the engine ends approximately right here.
Correct.
And then we have the transmission.
Correct.
And then we have what over here?
Transfer case.
That's awesome.
And then we've got this baby seat. What's that about, quickly?
It's for kids, I guess. I don't know.
Is that military spec?
It's a nice armrest.
So I tried to fit behind myself where Chris is sitting, and I fit pretty well. And then I tried to squeeze myself into that child seat. I had the worst time ever. That's it.
But in general, for such a big truck, there's not too much room to sit in it.
No, inside, it's actually super cramped.
It's only a 4-seater.
Can I explain one option that this modified version has?
Hit me with it.
Okay, so I have a special knee cutout, which is an option on this modified version. So they actually cut out part of this tunnel, and it gives me enough knee room that I can sit relatively comfortably. However, I'm definitely more comfortable in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I've got tons of room here. My knees don't hit anything. The seating is nice. Like, I got a captain's chair with an adjustable armrest. My elbow touches the armrest while my hand's on the steering wheel, both sides. It's actually better than most cars.
And the visibility is also really good because we're sitting nice and high.
And back to that ride height stuff you're talking about. So this could actually ford 30 inches of water stock. And then the military ones, they could actually go as high as the intake and exhaust are. They're completely waterproof.
So you'd be actually almost submerged in water when you're sitting in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. But your intake is right over here and it's not as high.
Correct. So this one I added a little bit of a snorkel so if you get a bow wave, you won't get water inside the intake.
And have you driven this over anything yet?
I have, and you can see that on my video. I've driven over 2 Hondas.
That's amazing. And I should point out that we are on a road trip. I did not drive over anything in my Raptor. However, definitely watch our road trip video because we did have a lot of fun making it.
And we know a lot of you guys are watching our channel without subscribing, so remember to just subscribe for more cool stuff like this.
But also subscribe to his channel.
Just subscribe everywhere.
So I want to mention a few more interior things before we get Chris in the driver's seat. Mostly this length.
Yeah.
So it's the same as the Raptor width-wise, but they sit you right at the window.
Yeah, so the Raptor, it's to the fenders, where the fenders here are pretty much the edge where you're sitting.
And then as for gauges and everything, it's pretty clear, but it's like the most old school analog thing ever. And at night, they light up nice and green, but some of the lights don't work.
I will be fixing them, and that'll be in my video.
Then we've got an aftermarket stereo, we've got our climate control, but we have 2 layers of fan. So we've got the normal fan, then we've got extra fan, which makes it a lot louder.
And we also have air conditioning because this is a civilian spec.
And it blows so cold.
Yeah, we're actually enjoying ourselves right now sitting here.
Now this has an upgraded air conditioning and heater system because the Hummer air conditioning systems were not made very well since originally it was for the military. So this has the 97.5 AC system in it, which works way better. And if it breaks, it can actually be fixed.
So how about all of our other compartments? I see we've got this little box right here.
Yeah, we got a nice wood grain finish on it as well, which we do know that Chris does not like.
I kind of like it. I think it's suitable.
It is.
What would you change it to?
Aluminum?
Yeah, that makes sense. Brushed aluminum.
Or even the black plastic is not bad.
Yeah, that's
and then up here we've got a sunglass holder, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like I have seen Hummers with TVs and VCRs.
There will be speaker systems up there, so I will get extra speakers because right now your speakers are only on the outside.
Okay, and what do you think of the interior materials? Because it looks like they kind of said, add some vinyl and screw it in, stop asking questions on everything.
Basically, but want to know what? It makes it really easy to work on, and it's pretty durable. This is a 1996, and it's holding up pretty good.
And the seats are also really comfortable, and you bought this from a previous owner, which happened to get some sort of name stitched into the seats, and apparently he was called J-Rock.
That's gonna change to ChrisFix, don't worry.
You could just change your channel name to J-Rock Fixes.
That's probably easier.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but for all you Canadians out there, trailer park boys, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. That could be your new catchphrase.
Know what I'm saying?
And then in the trunk, we don't have any seats, but it's a pretty wide open area.
And it's a wagon, so this is actually one of the coolest wagons you could probably get.
So let's get Chris into the driver's seat and we'll talk about a few more Hummer things and what he likes the most about it.
Let's do it.
And transmission-wise, we have an Allison 1000 transmission. It's 6 speeds automatic.
And how much horsepower and torque can it handle?
650 horsepower, 1,300 foot-pounds of torque.
That's incredible.
This is a V8, right?
Correct.
So we got a 6.6 liter Duramax V8 with a 6-speed Allison transmission. That's wicked.
And it's all overbuilt.
Did these ever come with a manual transmission?
They did not.
Oh man, enthusiasts are going to be so mad.
I guess this isn't a sports car.
Nah, you
The
can't.
shifter would have to be like over here.
Yeah. You shift first to third, I take care of the rest over here. And one thing I also want to point out, which I've been enjoying this entire time we've been driving, the exhaust sound.
So this has a 4-inch straight pipe exhaust all the way from the turbo
He
bag.
did
He
it!
said it!
He did
Straight
it!
pipes.
This is actually straight pipe. It sounds incredible. You hear everything. I love it.
The intake is like really loud as well.
Yeah, and there's actually no insulation in here, which you would also like to change.
Yes, that's another thing I want to do. I want to insulate the whole thing so it's quieter and more comfortable. The air conditioning's cooler, the heat's warmer, and more importantly, it's quiet so we don't have to yell.
So let's talk about looks. Let's finish this off with looks and get to the price.
So Chris, this is a wagon Hummer, right?
Correct.
There is a hatchback, or what's that called?
Slant back.
And then, can you get a pickup truck?
Yes, you can. And they also have a 4-door open top, which is like a convertible.
So this is your ideal?
This is definitely my ideal,
Okay.
and the ideal color.
Yes,
Okay.
let's talk about that color. Tan? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that works.
Tan on tan?
So besides this perfect color, what other options did you want on it, and what does it have that you wanted?
So, I mean, it's an off-road vehicle. You need the winch, so this has a front winch bumper with a 12,000-pound winch. It's got the big push bar in the front because the front end is fiberglass, the hood's fiberglass, so you need to protect all that stuff up there.
And how do you open it up?
And you open it up by unlatching that big push bar and then unlatching the hood and lifting it up.
That's actually amazing. It looks so cool when everything's unlatched and open.
Another thing it has is a ladder in the back so you can get to the roof.
So I climbed on top. It was actually really easy to do. And then Yuri did this like ninja jump right on top.
I'm actually a gymnast. So
yeah, apparently he didn't need the ladder.
Don't tell anyone.
And then you can also see Yuri underneath the body lift as well.
So while you guys were up on the roof, I think you might have seen the halogen lights up there. I definitely want to switch those out to LEDs because today's technology is so much better.
I just love the fact that you can walk on the roof.
It's going to be awesome at drift events to have like a table and chairs up there and just watch.
And speaking of drift events, this is rear-wheel drive, so you could technically drift this, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
But there aren't many rear-wheel drive Hummers.
No, so this gearbox is specially made for this. When they beefed it up, they put it so you can make it rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive like they were stock.
And having all that stuff up on the roof, being able to walk on it is amazing because this has crazy payload capacity, because this is meant to hold like turrets and stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of military men. The army men are supposed to sit in the back.
And this also has a bunch of hooks on the outside. Why?
Because you can lift it up with a helicopter, or you can parachute it out of a plane to get it to where you need it to be.
That's incredible.
Would you ever consider parachuting this out of a plane for a YouTube stunt?
No.
What if you got a lot of views from it?
I don't care.
You won't believe what I dropped out of a plane.
This is my baby. So actually, I was looking at military ones, and I was speaking to the military about trying to do something like that. But it's just, the logistics are crazy.
So when you buy a Raptor, people say that it's never been jumped. When you buy a Hummer, it's like never been dropped out of a helicopter or a plane.
Basically.
So let's talk about the military specs and let's get to the price of this one versus military spec ones.
So the military ones are nothing like this interior-wise. So they are a lot more broken down, and they do take a lower price. So you could go from 10 grand, 15 grand, all the way up to like 40 grand for like a perfect one.
US dollars.
Yes.
So in Canadian, that is this. And what about the civilian versions? Kind of like the one we're driving right now.
The civilian ones, there is such a huge range, and these are all asking prices. So anywhere from 40 for a really bad one, all the way up to 250 for a pristine Alpha.
And are you happy with the price you paid for this?
Yes, I am very happy. There are a few things that are wrong that it's perfect for me because I can fix it. If you had a Hummer guy fix it, it would be through the roof. So it worked out perfectly.
So let's finish this off with how happy you are getting your attainable dream car.
It's the greatest feeling in the world. When I parked it and walked into the store to get some ratcheting straps for all the tires I had on the roof, I literally went to tears of how cool it was. I finally did it. I worked my butt off. It just worked so hard, and finally I got it. This is something I never expected, and it's such a good feeling.
I feel like I can see you smiling through your eyes.
Yes. So let us know what your attainable dream car is. Watch our attainable dream car road trip. Watch my Raptor get ChrisFixed on his channel, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Patreon.com/TheStraightPipes, Teespring for shirts, and check out ChrisFix's channel.
And thank you guys so much for coming out all the way from Canada. It's awesome seeing you as usual.
Yeah, thanks for letting us drive this.
Thank you for having us.
I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive.